Thank you, Chair. Dr. Michael Ryan, welcome to this special committee, which I propose to be set up to look into the origins of COVID. Now, the Chinese Communist Party refused to share data with the WHO and pressured the WHO team investigating the origins into downplaying the virus' likely lab leak origins in Wuhan, China. The CCP further spread disinformation about the virus originating in Bangladesh, Greece, India, Italy, the Czech Republic, Australia, the United States, Russia, Serbia, Norway, or South Korea. The G7 called for, I quote, a timely, transparent, expert-led and science-based WHO-convened phase 2 COVID-19 origin study, unquote. However, you stated yourself last year that because the WHO works by persuasion, it lacks the power to compel China to cooperate. Dr. Ryan, will the WHO's phase 2 origin study remove everything pointing to China's culpability as in the phase 1 study? What steps has the WHO taken to gain access to China's raw patient data in order to determine the origins of the virus and thereby disprove CCP disinformation? Furthermore, can the WHO shed any light relating to the hundreds of thousands of euros in EU subsidies granted to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, specifically funding under the so-called European Virus Archive project, which also was intended for, quote, the production of viruses, unquote? And does the WHO consider it necessary to strengthen safeguards with regard to so-called gain-of-function research? Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm a little taken aback with some of the assertions being made. We're supposed to be science-based in our observations, yet what I hear here are assessments. You're entitled to your individual assessments, absolutely, as individuals. But you also have to address the evidence in a balanced way. And the paper you referred to is a non-peer-reviewed paper that's just been published as one of thousands of papers that have been published in this area. In terms of the one you just, I believe the one you just referred to, we will wait for that to be peer-reviewed. There have been opinions on all sides of this equation in terms of natural origin, engineered origin of this virus, back and forth, and there is no consensus, absolutely. WHO has been very, very clear to say that all hypotheses remain on the table because there isn't absolute convincing evidence in either direction. We keep that, and we keep that position open as further evidence develops. And we'll read these new papers with great interest and add them to the Scientific Advisory Group on Origins, which is a group of experts from all over the world who meet now on a constant basis to consider all of this new evidence. In terms of, I can't speak to the issue of the EU's support to gain-of-function studies or support to labs in Wuhan. That's for the European Union and its member states to sort out. I'm not there to provide you with information as to what your own member states are doing or not doing. The issue of lack of power, WHO as a UN organisation, as a member state organisation, has no legal power to enter a country. In the same way that you there in the European Parliament or the European Union has no legal power to enter a European country. You're a federation of states that have come together for economic integration, social integration, justice integration and other things. But there are rights retained by your individual member states. And those rights are sovereign and those rights are protected. And in this context, the rights of our member states are protected. You may not like that. You may not find that acceptable, but that is the reality. And that is the reality of your own organisation as you sit there. So please, don't come to me telling me about our lack of power. I understand the limitations of the powers that we have. We push to use the powers that we do have to the maximum, and we accept those limitations. And we accept the subsidiarity of member states and their sovereign right to make their own decisions. If member states then wish to argue with each other whether one member state is doing wrong and one member state is doing right, please do. Come to the World Health Assembly and debate it. Come to the Executive Board and debate it. Debate it between your parliament and the other parliaments that you feel are not representing proper practice. But it's not in the power of WHO to enter a country illegally and carry out what would be, under any national law, illegal activity without an invitation to do so. With regard to the different phases of the investigation, we have had teams on the ground. We've had more teams on the ground than any of the European Union teams on the ground, or any teams from any of your individual member states. In fact, we've been on the ground a number of times in China. And it is difficult and it is challenging to be able to get the information that we need to get. But at least we're trying, at least we're there. At least we're trying to get access to the scientific information. We're not just standing on soapboxes and pedestals and telling others what they should be doing. And we will continue to try to get to the bottom of this. We will continue to try and find the source of this virus, because it's a very important task if we're going to avoid future pandemics.